Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience in Mississippi as well as our online audience joining us around the world. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome recording artist Kevin Hawkins to our program today. Kevin's had a busy 2020 as he's gearing up for the release of his new album at the end of this month. We'll talk to him about that project called The Era, but also what it's been like for him as an artist to be able to do what he loves and to share that experience with all of you. If you guys are not following Kevin online, of course, we'll let you guys know where to find him on social media. But Kevin, thank you so much for the time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. How you doing?
Hey, doing really good, man. Well, look, at the time we're having this conversation, actually the day our radio audience is listening to this, you're releasing a new single. We'll get into that a little bit. But I want to talk about this journey for you. I mean, what has it been like for you, Kevin, to do what you love when it comes to music and to share that experience with all of us?
It's actually, the journey has been a 5-year-long journey, actually. So I started this back in 2015. I was 21 now. I'm 26. And just this album has taken place for me from different cities, from Atlanta to Los Angeles to New York, and even here in my hometown, Dallas. So it's been a long process, but I felt like, when I first started this project, pretty much I had the concept of the album together, and it's actually titled Mixed Emotions. The era is just like the Kevin Hawkins era coming about. Is that's something that we're going with, but it's actually entitled Mixed Emotions. But I felt like I hadn't really went through a lot of things maybe early in my 20s. In these last few years I have. So maybe I just had to go through a few more things to be able to talk about some things that were actually more relatable, because music definitely has to be relatable to your audience and stuff, and definitely to captivate them as well. So this journey for me has been it's been definitely more ups than downs, but it's definitely been some down times and stuff. But the album within itself, there's some happiness, there's some sadness, there's some tears, there's some laughter. It's everything in between. That's definitely why I entitled it Mixed Emotions.
Got you. Well, I think one of the interesting things for those who are not following you on Instagram, Kevin, they can find you there at K-Hawk Music, and we'll remind them of that. One of the things I thought was interesting when I was prepping for this during the summer, you posted some videos, of course, of you performing live, whether it's up on stage or even in the living room doing the Tamia song, Officially Missing You. I mean, what is it like for you to see people get it? I mean, to actually be able to feel the emotion and also to be able to feel, your talent when it comes to your music. What has that experience been like?
Yeah, a lot of people like the unedited, the rawness, especially when I'm at home, just the downright home, just everything. Like I said, just the rawness of it, when I'm in my living room, no gimmicks, nothing. They just like to just hear me sing, just me and a keyboard, or sometimes me being me in a cappella. Now when I'm on the stage, of course, it's a little bit different. There's mics, there's lights, there's smoke machines, there's cameras, there's all of that. So, I mean, it's definitely good to see like somebody that you enjoy in two different lights and stuff. But for me, if I had to choose one, I love the intimacy of being in my home, because people get to really see like, okay, this is really you, the everyday, like, none of the hair, none of the makeup, none of the clothes. This is just me and y'all up close and personal. This is just Kevin Hawkins up close and personal. For sure.
Yeah. And I think, to be able to do that, I think, it has to be great for you to not only, of course, to have them embrace you just as the talent without, as you mentioned, with all the extra stuff. But I want to talk about the confidence that comes with that, because one of the things, of course, people will also see, as they're kind of even just scrolling through your social media, Kevin, the way that you've been able to, to not only, of course, to show people who you are, but also to embrace the brand that is Kevin Hawkins. What has that been like for you? I mean, everything from we see you with the pictures with your step on it, with your name on it. I mean, how has that been for you to be able to embrace the branding aspect of who you are?
To embrace the branding aspect of who I am, I would actually learn that part from my publicist, LaSherl and Cammy, and it's just I'm telling you, like we try to stick to, for me, not them. I try to say, oh, this is what I want to do, and Cammy will always tell me, okay, you need to stick with this. This needs to be your header every time. This needs to be the font that you use every time. So that's something, a part of like building a brand, especially when it comes to the music. I always, for myself, the first thing they ask you is like, what type of genre that you do, and I'm always like, I do, of course, R&B, but I like to do it all. But for myself, what my brand for me is when it comes to music, I always try to still give you traditional R&B, of the 90s with a fresh current vibe on it of today. Here we are in 2020. And then I always try to make the music, relatable and the lyrics relatable. But the brand for me itself, I always love to play with, like, bright colors. I definitely gear myself towards a lot of pink and purple for some reason. I don't know. Maybe that's just like my color palette. But it's just something, just sticking with something like that. But I always just try to embrace myself. And I guess my brand, if I had to just put one word on it, my brand would be honest, true to myself.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, that's one of those things. I mean, again, being able to know what you like to do, and then, of course, to be able to do it, I think, is the big thing. So let me ask you about this, Kevin, as we kind of going through this conversation, because I love the fact that you talk about, music, because it's so easy for us, and we as listeners, we do it without even really thinking about it. We do try to put artists in a box. How important has that been for you to make sure, no matter what you're singing, that you let who you are as an individual come through?
For me, like you said, people, do try to put you in a box. For me, I know that because I've grown up in so many different styles. Like, I've been around all type of music. Like, of course, I grew up in the church singing gospel music, but I went to school and for music education and vocal performance, and I actually studied classical music. And then I was around jazz music and jazz musicians like all the time. So I learned how to sing each one of those and perfect them over time. So for myself, like, I've always told people, like, I can sing any type of genre, which is kind of another reason. One of the other reasons why I named my album Mixed Emotions, because it's so many different types of genres on the album. It's primarily R&B, but you definitely get some hints of rock. You definitely get some hints of pop. You definitely get some hints of country and stuff, even some hip-hop, rap and stuff. So I didn't want to just stay in one box. And I kind of appreciate, Beyonce for that, because when she came out with her Beyonce self-titled album, that's something that she did. She came out with a rock song. She had a country song. She was just all over. And I think that's important because, like you said, a lot of people do try to keep you in this, oh, well, he's an R&B singer. It's just like, no, I can actually do it all. Like, I actually like to sing all kind of genres because it also shows your versatility and helps you branch out to reach other artists and other people that might not necessarily even listen to that type of music.
Right. So true. It's a great reminder for us all. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome recording artist Kevin Hawkins to our program today. We're talking to Kevin not only about his musical journey. He mentioned, especially over the past few years, being able to get to where he is today, but also the project coming out later on this month. As I mentioned, Kevin, depending on how our audience is listening to us, you have a new single getting ready to drop as well. Collaborations is something you've been able to do too. So what has that been like for you to be able to match musical energy with other artists?
To match musical energy with other artists, it's actually been pretty fun. Like, I love to do collaborations. Sometimes you are in the studio with people and sometimes you're not. So I always like to go like back and forth. Someone that I really love to work with is actually one of my dear friends. Her name is Haley Elmore. We're in the studio, and she's featuring on a song. We're doing anything, when it comes to my music. It's like we'll go back and forth with ideas. I'll say, hey, try this, do that. Another guy that I actually like to work with, he's actually my sound engineer. His name is Trip Sauna. he is one of the most amazing lyricists like I've ever worked with. I'll have an idea, and if I can't necessarily say it like off the top of my head, I'm like, this is what I want to say without saying this. And he's just like, okay, I got it. And he's like walking around in circles in the studio, like twisting his ear. Now, those are two people that I work with inside the studio. Mo 3, he's actually on the first single that I'm coming out with tomorrow. It's called The One Thing. Now, we were not in the same studio. He was in another studio, but he would send a track, to me, and I would be like, okay, maybe you should change this. Let's change this. Let's do this here, stuff, things like that. And we would just go back and forth. So I always have a concept of what I want to go for. I send that idea to them. They send it back, and then if we need to change and make some edits, we'll go from there. It's pretty much how it goes for me.
Wow. Have you gotten used to the idea, Kevin? Because I noticed, too, even in the comments, not only, of course, people are praising you for, of course, your vocal ability, but also celebrating you, encouraged by you. Have you gotten used to the idea that by your pursuing your own goals and dreams that you are encouraging other people to do that, too?
Yeah, definitely. A young lady that she actually is coming out with a single here soon. I think when she came with it, her name is Leah Coleman. She actually, shared something of hers recently, and she posted, like, she was like that I was one of her biggest inspirations from, because we're from the same hometown, and it's just, I'm not going to say it's crazy to see that, but it's actually, like, very humbling, because you never know who actually looks up to you. And sometimes it's just like, from the flip side, it's not the easiest, being in the entertainment industry and stuff, and there's so many letdowns and so many no's and stuff. But if you keep persevering and showing people, like, I'm not going to let anything stop me, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to find my way, there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. It shows people that, well, if he can do it, then I can do it too. And I know sometimes that sounds like so cliche, but when you actually see people and coming in your inbox and telling them, like, I really appreciate you, going towards your dream and keeping that drive and keeping that fire inside of you, it really, really does something to you. And that's something that I've definitely felt within the past, like, a year for sure, seeing people, the outpouring of love and things like that for sure.
Yeah. Well, we know that's only going to continue as you are dropping the new music this month, Kevin, but also, of course, moving on throughout the rest of this year. Again, everyone, Kevin Hawkins has been our guest for this segment. We've been talking to Kevin not only about the journey that he's been on musically, but also what it's been like for him to share that journey with all of you. So, Kevin, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you, man, and how can they be able to support the music?
Yeah, so definitely, so Mixed Emotions is out everywhere, September 26th. Kevin Hawkins. You can follow me on Instagram at khawkmusic. That's KHAWKMUSIC. That's on Instagram. Same as Twitter. On my Facebook, it's just Kevin Hawkins. YouTube is Kevin Hawkins. But Spotify, all of it is Kevin Hawkins. Just look me up. The One Thing all night long. The One Thing drops tomorrow, September 8th, with featuring Mo 3. I'm definitely excited about that. You can go to Spotify, Kevin Hawkins, Apple Music, everywhere, Google Play, Amazon Music. It's all on there. That's how you can definitely follow me.
All right. Well, Kevin, congratulations to you, man. Glad we had a chance to speak, and looking forward to our next conversation together, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. Let's make it a great one.